This is great stuff, and it really shows that you know what you're getting into, that you're committed to the whole idea of going into medicine, and that you enjoy it. Well, good evening, Ethan.
Good evening.
How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, yeah, doing great. Now, tell us a little bit about Ethan.
So I am all the way up here in Massachusetts, where it is getting colder by the minute. I have been with MAPT, or at least been subscribed to MAPT since the beginning of it, and I love it because it helps me organize everything. But
Good.
I am a biology major. I go to my home state school, University of Massachusetts at Lowell. I have been to other schools and transfer back to my home state, which is something I probably should have done from the beginning, but it's what we learn. It's what we learn along the way.
Yep. That's right.
But I hope today that I can go through MAPT and see what I can learn and see what I can share, because this is a process that I've had a lot of fun with and that I've learned a lot, definitely.
Well, good. Excellent. So let's do that now. We've got your MAPT up here on the screen for those of you that are watching on MAPT TV, and you can see the screen share of his MAPT account. And then we also, for those of you that are listening on the podcast, we will kind of try to describe to you a little bit as we go along. So we're going to look first of all at the GPA graph there, and what we see. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing there, Ethan.
So here, I'll make the screen even bigger, see if that makes it even better. There we go. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
So this is my AMCAS GPA. I know it breaks it down, AMCAS, ACOMAS, and TMD, SAS.
Right.
This is what AMCAS looks like. So
right.
2018 was my freshman year of college. I went out to a school in the Midwest. I had actually previously asked on Ask the Dean Q&A about, I don't know if you remember this, but the blank transcript question from maybe a week or two ago.
I do remember that. Yes.
That was me.
Okay.
I was at a school for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then a series of family emergencies occurred, and my family asked me to come back home. So I left that school before the ad drop period ended. So that transcript is completely blank. So there's nothing there.
Okay.
I picked up the rest of that semester at the school in Maine that I transferred to. So this is where you see these grades. I ended that first semester, the spring, with 3.15. I was taking classes like calculus, which I'm not a strong math student, but I did get better.
Yeah.
And then just continually just getting better over the other semesters, taking classes that I enjoyed. And then you see cumulative just climbing to right now it's at right on a 3.5.
Okay.
Right.
And
there.
then we see the science GPA is a little lower.
Yes.
3.3.
Yes. Science GPA is a little bit lower. For AMCAS, it factored in, I think the lowest grade I ever got was a C+ in calculus.
Yeah. But a nice trend there. The science GPA shows a nice trend, a nice upward trajectory.
Yes. That was what, as I started taking more classes, I learned how to study. I learned what I enjoyed, and I started picking things up really quickly. And the trend, even though it is a 3.5 with a sGPA of 3.31, it's still something that I'm proud of, that I've gotten better over time.
Right.
And I still have 3 semesters or 4 semesters counting this one left because I'm a junior.
Okay.
I still have plenty of time for improvement with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent. Yeah, that's really, it seems like there's really good stuff happening, and I think it's not uncommon for students to take a little time to sort of figure things out and to figure out how to study appropriately. And sometimes that changes course to course. What works in one course may not work in another course. in terms of, the study routine or whatever. So so it sounds like you are figuring it out as you go, and it seems to be going well.
Yes, I am figuring it out. I'm feeling very good about this semester so far. My classes have been going well. I'm
Excellent.
doing pretty well in physics, actually.
Good.
It's my only
Now,
direct that I'm not finished.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just going to ask. So you're in physics 1 now?
Yes, it's going very well. A lot better than I thought it would have been going. If you would have asked me freshman year, how's physics going? It would have been like, oh, I'm failing. But now I did very well on the first test, and I have a better grasp of the material. It's going really well, and I enjoy it.
Well, good. Physics is the kind of class that, especially the lab, is just a lot of work. And writing those lab reports are not fun, and so if you're enjoying it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was taught the perspective of breaking it down and making it a math problem.
Oh,
and good. That has really helped me, especially with MCAT physics and math, which is what I thought I would struggle with the most. But the physics concepts, I have those down. It's doing the math quickly that I'm working on.
Yeah, sounds right. So since you brought up MCAT, why don't we shift down and look at MCAT stuff for a bit?
Yes.
And so the 505 score that you have listed there from September 14th, that's a real test, or that's a practice test?
That's a practice test.
Okay. And how was that the first practice test you had taken?
No, I can go over to the MCAT tab here.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I see. Perfect.
I took a Blueprint Next Step half-length diagnostic. I got a 496 without any studying, which was actually surprisingly where I thought I would be without doing studying at all. And then I started hitting the places that I needed to study on the most. So chemistry and physics, and then bio and biochemistry.
Right.
I don't know why I put the AMC. No, I have the dates here wrong. And then in September 14th, last month, I took an all-TS practice test, the first one, and got run 505.
Yeah, that's
psych soc.
Yeah, that should be very encouraging to you, that increase like that with, even still at this point, you're probably haven't really hit your stride in terms of MCAT study yet.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more into it. I'm looking at what I'm the weakest at. I think surprisingly, the biggest difference that for me between the half-length diagnostic and the first practice test wasn't necessarily content stuff. It was how I approached the test, how much time I spent on each question, because the half-length, I was rushing. I had this idea in my head that, I need to get these done super quick. But I slowed down, and I was like, even if I don't know this, if I try to reason through it, then I started getting more questions correct.
Right. Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's one of the reasons for taking plenty of practice tests is that you get that timing down. You get more used to how much time can I actually spend on a given question, and so that's fantastic. I'm pleased that you're having good results like that.
Yeah. And
that's
my
awesome.
target date for the MCAT's in January, so I still have plenty of time to study and get more content down. Physics 1 finished.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm hoping around like a 510 to a 512, which is where my target schools are sitting at. Always could add insurance points, but that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect. Good. Well, it sounds like you got a good plan going for what you need to do and want to do in terms of the MCAT, both in terms of studying, but also in terms of what your targets are. So that's great.
Yeah. It's nice having something in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's shift back to the dashboard, and actually let's go to the activities tab if we could, and check out what you've been spending your time doing.
This is actually what I think would probably be a stronger part of my application, of the work that I've done I'm proud of.
Oh, excellent.
don't want to say I shopped around, but I found things that I enjoyed, that I could sink more time into, that I could get more out of.
Right.
I could reflect on, and that I really enjoy doing, because I learned early on that just because it's a box that needs to be checked, if I hate it, then I don't want to do it.
Right.
So I found things that I liked.
Right.
And these opportunities gave me more. The opportunities compounded.
Oh, of course.
This right here, this volunteering position, I started doing this sophomore year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended that's accurate, October 1st, because COVID kind of cut that down a little bit, but I gave a little time each week since freshman year of high school. These hours are only college hours. But on this last page, it ended October 1st because the volunteering position that was there, the actual department that I was volunteering in offered me a paid position.
Oh, wow.
So I've been doing that since then. They, since COVID kind of ruined a lot of the volunteering, and a lot of the volunteers had to go home, especially since a lot of them are older, they asked, hey, Ethan, do you mind if you actually just stay with us? We can offer you a position. And I said, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely think just kind of glancing at what you've entered here, this is definitely a strong area for you. Not only, EMT work that you're doing, the scribing that you've done, extensive amount of scribe work there. You're really doing some great things that give you a lot of contact with medicine. I love the idea that you just described, that you were super committed to the volunteer effort, and that what that led to was other opportunities. And I think sometimes students get discouraged when they go volunteer at a hospital or somewhere, and they're not doing anything very exciting, and they they get frustrated with that, and then they end up not doing it. And I think you're a good example of somebody who stuck with it over a long period of time, and it led to other benefits to you, ultimately now to a paid position where you're, where it's really shown that your level of commitment, dependability, reliability has really paid off. Does that sound right?
Yes, that's definitely how I would describe it. Most definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So, word of the wise for those of you that are listening on the podcast, and those of you that are watching on MAP TV, stick with it, even if it's not too exciting. Your medicine is not always exciting. Sometimes it's mundane, and sometimes there's boring stuff that has to be done, like paperwork or whatever, and you have to stick with it. And that will lead to other opportunities eventually that will give you some cool things to do. So absolutely, that's wonderful, Ethan.
Yeah,
that is.
This is definitely work that I've enjoyed, that I've been proud of.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I totally agree with you that this area of your application is going to be really striking, I think, in terms of your level of experience in a variety of different ways, both through scribing as well as the EMT and now the volunteer work that's led to a position. This is great stuff, and it really shows that you know what you're getting into, that you're committed to the whole idea of going into medicine, and that you enjoy it. And my guess is you're going to get some nice letters of recommendation out of some of these people.
Yes, I already have. There have been some people that have asked if they could write one for me, and I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just forging those relationships with people that I just continuously work with, that I've been
absolutely.
able to help. And these opportunities just lead to even more. And like I said, if like the people that I meet, supervisors, like other employees that I work with, other volunteers, if I didn't like what I was doing, if it was just like something to check off a box, then I wouldn't feel as confident with letters of recommendation. But the ones that I haven't read them. they've asked me, hey, do you want to read this? And I said, no, I waived that right. I don't want to read it because I trust what you have to say. I love working with you, love working under you. And
oh, that's fantastic.
It's been a good process so far with this.
Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Excellent. If let's check out just for a minute, just look at the med schools that you're considering. Do you have those input and mapped already or no?
Yes, I've been doing research into, let's see, I just have all these marked so I can read through and look and do more research into them. These are just the ones that I have bookmarked so far, as just 37.
Okay. So you're looking all around the country then.
Yes, I do have a single school that I would say is probably at the top of my list, other than local schools like my University of Massachusetts,
right?
Like University of New England up in Maine,
right?
But the primary school that I'm interested in is Uniformed Services University.
Okay, so you're thinking the scholarship programs, or not that, but similar to that in Maryland, right? Perfect.
Yes.
That's a great objective. It is obviously it's the cheapest objective.
Right. 0, 0.
Right. Exactly. That's great. Well, that's wonderful. I really, that's a great objective to have. Excellent. That's great.
But so for the schools that I do have so far, I do have experience with a few. Some that I've, like the University of Iowa. That was a school that I went to out west. They have a fantastic medical school, as does Des Moines. When I went through the capital of Iowa, I ran very, very good clinicians there. I was fortunate enough to go to they were doing some pre-med courses and classes, and there was a suturing course taught by the Army's HPSP students. It was a second-year general surgery resident with the Army who went to Des Moines, and he was talking to us about it, and he said it was fantastic for the HPSP scholarship. And he said if you're looking at schools for HPSP, definitely look at how the school how it treats the HPSP.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But good mix of MD schools.
Yeah, I think that's a good objective to have. It's really, you got a lot of schools there, but I think over time between now and next summer, you'll have a good sense of really getting those into the core group of schools that you're really interested in and that kind of fit what you're looking for. And even what I would suggest, even if you don't get into the uniformed services medical school, the scholarship programs are a fantastic way to the military scholarship programs are a fantastic way also to pay for med school. I talked to a person just today who's doing the Air Force scholarship program and is really up on that. And so, check those out as well.
I will. Most definitely I will. I know I come from a military family, so that has heavily impacted my decision. I was also extremely fortunate. I don't know if you saw in the activities, but on the second page, there was all my shadowing. I shadowed a former military cardiologist up in Maine.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
He had only good things to say about it. He was a DO, and that has heavily impacted how I view DOs, how I saw him practice. And it's just a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
great.
far,
Wonderful.
Military medicine's been. I've seen how it works. I've been down to the Uniformed Services University on an open house.
Yeah.
And I only liked what I saw.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent. Well, all in all, Ethan, I see really great things for you. I'm very encouraged that you're that you've got a good plan in terms of the MCAT. Now you said you're taking it in January. That's correct?
Yes, correct.
That's the plan. So I think it's very doable. That there's a lot of great reasons. January, the end of January is a good day to give you really a lot of focus time over the break between fall and spring semesters. Really focus in on MCAT studying. I think it gives you an opportunity to get those scores and know if you need or want to retake it, then you have an opportunity to do that. I think if you pull out another good semester this semester and in the spring, in terms of that GPA trend, that's going to really even continue to bolster, because you're to the stage now where you're taking mostly science classes, right?
Yes, all of my classes this semester, except for one, is a science class.
Yeah, so you're really going to be impacting that science GPA pretty significantly over the next 2 semesters. So I would, depending on how the grades go and stuff, but you could make that mathematically, you could make that science GPA jump pretty radically over these next 2 semesters.
That would be nice to see.
Yeah, that'd be great, right? Well, I definitely think, Ethan, that if your plan is to apply 21, that I'd say you're ready. Depending on how things go, obviously with the courses this semester and next, and with the MCAT and stuff. But you're doing well until you got a good study plan for the MCAT. I'm very encouraged by that practice test score, and think with a lot of good prep over the next few months, that you've got a good chance of really hitting your target. And so assuming those things that are a little bit of a question mark right now, I'd definitely say that you're ready for 21 to apply. I hope that's good news for you.
That's why the only major question that I had was about, that I already asked on the Q&A a few weeks ago, was about the blank transcript.
Yeah.
And how schools would deal with that.
Yeah. I don't even think that you need to even, you'll have to, you don't have any courses to put in because you withdrew from, not only did you withdraw from the courses, you withdrew completely from the university. So as you said, you have a blank transcript. So I don't think that's going to impact anything at all. I would say, don't worry about that part of it. You've got a good, and in particular, that's about telling your story. You had family needs that really necessitated you to move closer back to home. You still did that semester. It was a bit of a struggle semester, but everybody's freshman semester is a bit of a struggle semester. That's not uncommon at all. So I wouldn't worry about that. I love the trends that you're showing on the GPA graph. That's wonderful. So I really am encouraged by the picture that I'm seeing here. Obviously, the activities and your depth, the depth of experience that you have, not only with medicine in a paid type capacity, but the volunteer commitment that you had. This is good stuff. And, I would say, after the first of the year, I would say probably after you finish with the MCAT at the end of January is when I would really start diving into writing personal statement and stuff like that. And you've probably sketched out a little bit of it. It sounds like you're pretty organized kind of guy, but I would say don't worry too much about the personal statement until you're done with the MCAT. Focus on the MCAT and on schoolwork and the work you're doing. You got a lot going on. So, and then after the MCAT's over, you'll have a little bit extra time that you can spend doing the personal statement and extracurricular descriptions and stuff like that, so that you can get those in a way that you really feel like but that you're going to tell your story in that personal statement about not only what led you into medicine, wanting to go to medical school, but also kind of more about what meaningful experiences you've had in these things that you've done, whether it's scribing or the EMT work or the volunteer work or whatever. My guess is that you've got some things that have really impacted you in a pretty significant way. And that's where you're going to tell some of those stories. So I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing here, Ethan. I think you're going to be ready for sure next May, June.
Thank you. That's actually very encouraging, because getting this far and you're kind of especially with some pre-meds, you're in a bubble for some time. And when people, whether it be a physician or even one of your own professors saying, wow, you're doing really good work, it does feel nice. Because then you put even more effort into the things that you're doing. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm very, very pleased and from what I've seen here and excited for you, Ethan. It sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders and you got a good plan in place. And so now the objective is to work the plan.
Yep.
That's what you do. Yep. That's what you do. All right. Well, any other questions that you have for me today?
No, I'm getting ready to, as you said, in January or even a little bit sooner, start writing things. I am a writer.
Oh, good. Good.
On the activities, but fiction writing is a hobby.
Well, that's awesome. Now you're not going to be writing. Not going to be writing fiction. You're going to be writing nonfiction this time.
Writing still helps.
Absolutely.
This experience right here, the honors fellowship, the honors college at my school asked. They know that I'm pre-medical, and they asked me to see if I would do like an honors fellowship, which is something that you do. It's either research or creative, and I have research already. But I said, I'll do something creative. So I work with a faculty advisor, and I have a project that I work on for about a year, which for me specifically, they asked me to write kind of like my experience so far, like a personal statement, just experiences with healthcare and medicine. So I wrote, or I am still writing, a series of like 10 to 12, almost like immersive journalism of all my experiences, of everything that I've done, everything that I've learned. And they have like a lessons learned at the bottom of it, which is things that can be as mundane as when you're pushing a wheelchair with patients, make sure that the wheels are not indeed locked. So you'll be dragging all the way up to, in my shadowing experience, having orthopedic oncologists telling me, here's like more advanced surgical tips. You'll remember these later on in medical school, but like the lessons learned, it goes from goes all the way up.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Volunteering all the way up to shadowing, perspectives on what medicine looks like, and that's definitely, it's been a nice experience. It's been reflective.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds great. Well, that's going to benefit you in writing your personal statement and some of those other secondary essays and stuff. So that'll definitely be another check in your corner in terms of how that will make it a little bit easier. So great. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Ethan. It's been great, and I hope that hope things continue to go well for you.